What's good? This is Marcus the Fingaz back with another video. In this video, we're going to go over Mixing Night Beat Challenge. For those that don't know, Mixing Night with Ken Lewis is a 2-hour festival. It's a 2-hour celebration of music with Ken Lewis every 2 weeks on YouTube. He goes live. He shares stories of some of the records he's mixed. He has over 100 gold and platinum records to his name, where he's either been the mix engineer, a producer, songwriter. So he has over 100. I think 103 is the current number of gold or higher records that he has worked on. There's actually a playlist. If I remember, I will include the playlist that someone in the Mixing Night community, Mike Heebs, put together recently of, I want to say it's over 400 songs on that list. It's crazy. Ken is incredible. So every once in a while, he does a beat challenge or a mix challenge or some type of challenge where you can either mix a song or you can make music using a loop that he provides. So the last one, the most recent episode of Mixing Night, he provided a loop that producers could use, or composers or music creators, beat makers could use and flip and make their own. They could write songs to it. So I'm gonna show you what I did. Here is how the sample originally came. This is the Ken Lewis Mixing Night March 17th Beat Challenge starter. This is how it sounded. So that's how the sample came. So what I did was I took the sample, took it into Beatmaker 3 on the iPad here. I pitched it down 4 semitones. Usually I like to pitch my samples down. Sometimes I go up, but I usually like to pitch them down 3 or 4 semitones. Anything more, things get really crazy. Sometimes I do get extreme with if I want some type of effects, but 3 to 5 or 6 semitones, something like that. So I pitched it down 4 semitones in this case. Time stretched it. So the tempo of the original sample, the tempo was 140 BPM. The beat that I made was at 105 BPM. So what I did was go into live stretch here and just made it high quality so that it would stretch it out to the tempo. Here is the pitch down sample. So basically the same. So what I did there was after I pitched it down and stretched the tempo, I spliced it up using the auto slice function in Beatmaker 3. So if I hit slice mode at the top right here, hit auto slice, and then I go to split, and I split it up into 16 equal parts, and then I just added those to the pads, and then I came up with a different pattern using that those chops and that sound. So here is the pattern I came up with using with the chops. So here is the pattern I have. So it basically repeats that. I used chops from both sections of the original sample. And then from there, I just built on top of that. I believe I started with the drums. So the drums, one of my favorite drum sounds lately has been from a company called The Loops, THALOOPS. They have a great plugin on desktop called Pulse, which is like some great drum sounds. But when you buy the plugin, you also get these the wave plugins of the drum sound. So I have those drums imported into my iPad here. And the specific drums I used were this timbo kick, this timbo snare, timbo hat, timbo perk, another timbo perk, power like a beatbox, and then this. I really like the snare. It's like it almost sounds like someone's yelling under the snare. I really like that. So here is a drum pattern along with the sample.
And the fingers on the beat.
So that second time around, you hear where I layered that sort of beatbox and that sort of yelling snare with that. And go back to the sample really quick. The effects I have, I brought out some of the frequencies using the Pro Q3 EQ. I enhanced some other frequencies using Woot, which is basically a dynamic hype enhancer. I believe I may have used Slow Machine for some effects, either slow down or to add some variation. And then I have a little bit of delay so that when I stop playing the sample, it still plays out a little bit. And then after that, the drum programming I have, or the drum effects I have here. I have FAC Transient. Fred Anton Corvest has some incredible desktop and iPad or iOS effects that you can use. I use this Punch on Drums preset for my drums going into FAC Maxima, also by Fred Anton Corvest, into Low Fly Dirt by MSX2 Sound Design or MSX Audio, into Koala Effects, which I use in this case to add some effects to the drums. I might have some automation in there where I can use any of these, 16 effects, or 16 effects here, and I can automate them or have them preset scenes. So I believe I may have some effects on the drums there going on. And then after that, I used Model 15, which is a Korg app. This is a recreation of analog synth, modular synth, and I use this trilly bass sound on there playing this. Really low, subby, distorted. I have some effects on there. I have Go To EQ by Clef Grand, going into Low Fly Dirt by MSX Audio, going into the native EQ on Beatmaker 3, going into Haze 2, also by Clef Grand, adding some width to the low end there, and I believe that might be, and then going into a little bit of reverb on the Beatmaker 3 app. So that is the Model 15 app. Sort of adding some low end bass for the first half of the beat that I made, and then the second half of the beat I'm going to jump down to the 808 because I have that bass playing during the first half, but then I have the 808 come in during the second half, and here is the 808 I have. Just adding some variation there. So the 808 is actually an iOS app called AudioKit 808 by AudioKit Subbase 808. I have a preset. I have a lot of presets in here, but there are 150 presets, 151 if you count the initialized preset, which is, or 0, the FM bass heat. So 151 presets in there. I have sort of the lower 20 or 30 presets in there. So I used my dafingaz Acute preset. I might have done some tweaks here to adjust something in the sound, but this is basically 808 Maker for iOS. I'm going to do a whole nother video on 808s and probably why I will never intentionally buy any more 808 kits again, and this is one of the reasons why, because I have an 808 Maker on iOS. Subbase 808, the effects I have on there, the EQ using enhancing some low end and a little bit in the high end, going into a compressor so that when the timbo kick hits, it sort of compresses that 808, and then going into Fred Anton Corvest Bandit, which is almost like a frequency enhancer, using this Il Vecchio Warmer Mix preset, going into another FAC Maxima using this Sub-Bass Max preset. So here is that 808 one more time. So that blends well in the mix. Moving right along, 2 more sounds. Digitalism, it's another AudioKit app. Basically has some very great like key sounds, almost vintage digital sounds. I don't remember what sound I use. I think because when I restarted the app, I think the preset changed. But this is what I played with that Digitalism app. And here is how it sounds with the sample and drums in there. So, and then I believe the final sound, yep, that's all of them. I used Poison 202, so I wanted to add a little bit of a change for the second half of the beat. So I just added some sort of off some chords that weren't necessarily in the key to just add a little bit of just variation to the beat. So I actually took the key, and I gotta remember what key I was in. Let me see what key I was in. So I was in C sharp minor. So with this sound, this Poison 202 sound, using this Poison 202 app by Gem Audio, I use this brassy sound, and I wanted to add a little bit of variation. So for those that are interested, the chords I was playing at the beginning are A major, B major, and C sharp minor. One of my favorite chord progressions. You probably hear it in a lot of my songs or beats. But to add a little bit of variation, so instead of doing that progression, the second part of that progression is actually C sharp minor to D sharp minor to E flat major. So here's a full progression. So for the turnaround, or the second time around, to add a little bit of variation, I believe I did. So I took it out of the key a little bit, and I played a D major chord, and then back to that C sharp minor. So here is this sound playing that. So I actually played it. So a C sharp major, or C sharp minor to D major, back to C sharp minor. So here is that progression. So that's the gist of it. What I'm gonna do is I'll run quickly over the processing I have sort of on the main out, the master. I just have a little bit of stereo width as it goes up the frequency. The range of the sounds get a little bit of wider. So the low frequencies are pretty narrow, and then as you go up the range, they get a little bit wider. Into a barricade by tone boosters, doing some glue compression there. Into bark filter, doing more compression. I'm probably doing too much compression there, and then Morph-it. I actually do this when I'm making the beat. I use this depending on the headphones I'm wearing. This applies an EQ curve, so usually I'm either wearing the Apple earbuds here, so I can go up to Apple earpods, and then it'll apply that frequency curve to what I have on. Or I also have some Sennheiser headphones. These are the HD 280 Pros. I also have some AKG headphones upstairs. So I'm gonna do a whole nother video on headphones. So I have a lot of videos to do. I have a lot in the works. The 808s video, the headphones video. But this is where you can apply those curves while mixing or listening to music. And then I turn that off before I export the audio, obviously. And then I have finally going into a limiter, Pro L2 by FabFilter. I have just a default. I usually adjust according to how I want the sound, but I have my own preset here with some settings that I have preset in there. That was me hitting the 808. So that's just a quick overview. I hope it was quick. Of the Mixing Night Beat Challenge. I'm going to play through the whole beat one time before we get out of here. But thank you for checking it out. Thank you to Ken Lewis. I will include a link to some Mixing Night episodes, or maybe I'll have a card somewhere to the most recent episode. You go check it out. Over 2 hours of basically a free masterclass from a guy who has been in the industry for 20, 30 years now, who's worked with almost everyone that you can think of, has the most diverse catalog in the industry. So here is my submission to the March 17th, 2021 Mixing Night Beat Battle. Here we go.
And the fingers on the beat.
Be safe and be well, everyone. All right, peace.